All right, we're gonna go ahead and get started. I know a lot of people are still coming back. But we'll get started. They'll straggle in and I'll go up in a round one. So it might be a little disruption. But we want to get things going so we're not too far from today.
If that's what come up.
The next couple that will be talking are some of my favorite people, but I do say that a lot. Here, here.
We agree though.
And your favorite people. I have extreme social anxiety disorder, socially awkward. And one of the things that actually really helped was when I started doing radio show with Deb. And callers call in, we do readings, stuff like that. So that helped a lot. So I owe a lot to Deb to get a little more outgoing. So, but I'm going to let them have that because their time is going. And very interesting people. If you don't know them, go see them afterwards. Go meet people that you haven't seen and go see the vendors. They're awesome. We have readers across the hall. There's vendors across the hall as well. So not just readers. So go over there and visit with them too. With that, I'm going to turn it over to my love Deb and ARJAY groups. Thank you.
Thank you. I want to thank Tim for having us again this year. So, good cause.
Hi, everybody.
Hello.
So many people aren't here, but they'll come in. I want to really encourage you. You can tell things are a little slower this year. So donations are way down at this moment. So the more you spend, the more you donate. Buy those raffle tickets. Buy t-shirts from Tim. Hoodies from Tim. Those donations because it's really down. So if you don't know, we are at ARJAY DEROUSSE. We're paranormal and UFO researchers with over 30 years in the field. That's because we're old. We, along with Mike Smith, and you guys, a lot of you know him, he's out there wandering around. He likes to stay in the shadows, but he's a big part of the mission of UFO contact. And that's great for this building in September. 5 tickets, or you want to win 3 tickets, they're being auctioned off on the tables. We're also authors and founders of Mystical Awakenings Metaphysical Store, Mystical Awakenings Radio, that John was talking about. If anybody listened to him, he's been on. We want to bring him back on the air. So.
Okay, so how many people out here believe in extraterrestrials? Nice. So in 2016, NASA had a telescope and they estimated that there was 2 trillion galaxies out there that we could see. And within our own galaxy, there's 40 million Earth-like planets.
Trying to process that.
Yeah, no, they just put a new one out. So I think those numbers will probably change. But if you think about it, an advanced civilization, do they need what looks like planets to sky on? It's probably so, you know, that's just an estimate that we're going by. So is there life out there? I hope we're not the only ones. So there's life out there for sure. The universe is, they say, 15 billion years old, and the Earth is about 4.5 billion years old. So some people have had some head start on us. You probably know a lot more than we do. We'll get into that a little bit.
So how can you witness a UFO or UAP? UAP, I still can't process that. They're UFOs, right?
Yeah.
So there's many ways, but the first way is to keep your eyes to the skies. You know, so many people say, well, I've never seen one. Have you ever looked at the sky? You know, a lot of sightings. My biggest experience happened in a car. And that's outside of the house. So many sightings happen in vehicles. And that's because you're driving, you see the sky. Stargazing. If you get out stargaze, we'll just go out and sit back or look around. Sometimes even from the car, you know, just ride to some place where there's no lights. And look at the sky. How we see that. So, you know, open your mind and your heart. The ambient parent method, how many people know what that is? Most of you, yeah. Just go out and call them in. Now, she thinks them in, but she can say, I can't. I suck. But, you know, if you go out with the intent of communicating, you keep that open heart. You would be amazed at how often you will see something.
Yeah, does anybody not know what CE5 means? It's in close encounters at the fifth time where you actually try to make contact with them. Other encounters is that when they, you know, yeah. The third kind is you actually see the craft.
They show up, you didn't ask them.
Yeah, so it's a big deal. I mean, people around the world got first and they go up to it. Dr. Stephen Greer is probably one of the first ones to initiate that. Yeah, he did that. And Freya's,
Austin McGrath.
yeah, he's in charge of all these groups. And they send really cool information when they do that. Not only sightings in the sky, but actually beings around. So get a chance to check that out. It's really cool.
And when you do CE5, you know, the big thing with Stephen Greer's study is get a group of people, you all sit around and you light candles and you burn incense and you meditate. You get the whole mindset. And then you call them in. And it's great to do that and to have that, you know, connect your consciousness. But you don't have to. Really don't. The main thing is to look at the sky, to be open, and be ready, because they're there. They're there more and more all the time. So we get a lot of reports personally, and move on field investigator. So some of the most common reports, and a lot of you will see these things. The first one, satellites. How many people have seen that? It is so flipping cool. You see those things going across the sky? Oh my God, they're here.
So, we're getting invaded.
So,
I'm guilty of that myself.
yeah, most of us are. Sorry. But I mean, almost everybody has spotted Venus and went, oh my God, it's a UFO. Because it kind of twinkles and it's lower and it's so bright in the sky.
Well, yeah, people will stick to the trees and they'll be driving. That thing's following me. It's following me. We're all guilty of it. We've all got Venus at one time. UFO.
Yeah, so if you see it out your back door every night for, you know, quite a while, don't freak out. It's usually weeks. Always.
Drone.
The drones. And a lot of people play with the drones. So, you know, they're oftentimes recorded. Now, like with Venus, you can tell, you can really look at it. And you can get apps on your phone to see where it's at in the sky. You can figure out that it is Venus and not. Same with the stars. You can look online and they have actual calendars of schedule of when they're going to be in different areas. A drone, usually they don't go as high, don't move the same.
They have this up and down, sideways movement. So, you know, it can be easily mistaken as good, for sure.
helicopters. Now, we don't get as many helicopter reports, but we do get them because they're slower moving. So when you see helicopters going through the sky, some people call it a report or actually make a move on report that they saw something and it turns out it was a helicopter. The hot air balloons where they were oftentimes, and you can tell by looking at that could be mistaken for a UFO. And then, of course, the airplane. And we all do that too. You know, you see this thing whipping through the sky. At first, it's like, oh my God, there it is. Okay, it's here. So these are the most reported things. We're going to try to get through this quicker because our time's limited. We have a video at the end that we want to show you. I don't know. So what do you do if you spot something? Sounds like call up. Call somebody. If you're driving, stop. When I had my experience, my car just did its thing and it stopped on its own. But it's not very safe to see something in the sky and be going, oh my God, it's a UFO, and you're driving down the road. Yeah, bad things can happen. So first thing you want to do is stop your car, take pictures if you can. I couldn't with my big experience because I was paralyzed. If you can take pictures or video, please do. Everything that you do helps in the report and helps with statistics so that we know what's going on. Disclosure is up to us. Note your location as exact as possible. Note the time and weather conditions. If anybody wants to take a photo of this, seriously, it's important stuff because you don't think when you have a sighting, and especially if it's right there, you're not going to think of this. Okay? You want to note the direction, behaviors of the object, the shape, of course, a number of them. But the behavior is really important, isn't it? So what is it that a UFO might do that a drone or a hot air balloon?
Well, UFOs move in very quick movements, much faster than drones. They can just shoot out to space. How many people have seen, like, thought they were seeing a satellite moving across the sky? Like a star. Well, I had an experience where I was watching one, and all of a sudden it did a right angle and just shot out like that. So that was not a satellite. And, so they have weird movements. They can disappear and come back. They can split in two, one. They can drop stuff from them, whatever that is. So yeah, you know when you see
Behavior of a ship is going to be a lot different than the behavior of a hot air balloon or any of the other things that we showed you. Right? So it's really important to know that. What is it doing? Right? This looks like that. Now, most people, I say, try to watch until it's gone. You're going to do that anyways. You're going to be so in awe, in shock. So what if something like, well, right after you crack your pants, you want to stay put for one thing. I mean, if you feel the need to run away, you're feeling that for a reason. Go, if you can. But if you can stay there, if you're comfortable there, observe. Never get any closer. It's super important. You don't get any closer. They might take you in.
well, it's well known that landings are full of radiation, and that's natural from space. So you don't want to go right into it.
Right. Yeah. Do not go near a vessel. That's pretty important. Call authorities to report the landing. You can call the police if you know somebody in MUFON, or in any group that does reporting. call them. If you have a friend that doesn't call them, call somebody.
Take pictures.
Definitely, if you can, take pictures, take a video. If that, usually if they show up, unless they crash, they're not gonna linger. Okay? They're gonna be there, do what they're gonna do, and they're gonna be gone. Once that happens, if you ever see a ship leave, do not go near that area. Don't go near it. Call somebody and report. They will come take test the levels of the magnetism and the radiation. They'll take photos, they'll measure the site. That's how we learn, what's going on. And it's how we learn if that area is safe.
And if they have black suits on, they'll tell you just go away and forget about it.
Yeah. So has anybody seen a vessel land? No? What you got? Well, it didn't really land. I just see it dissipate, but I guess they took. So, again, very important to report your sightings. It's all about getting that information out there. Since the 1950s, there's been thousands, perhaps millions of reported contacts and or abductions to the government or other organizations across the world. Now, MUFON is a big one. That's one that most people know, but there are other organizations. We have extraterrestrial truth seekers. We don't use it a whole lot, but we do have a group on Facebook. Feel free to join us if you'd like to, and you can report to us, and we can help you report. Okay, so without reports, we wouldn't know the stuff that we know. Where does information come from? Again, a lot of it. MUFON's one of them. Researchers and ufologists. That's where most, and now the military. They're accepting that information. It's going into reports, it's being counted. So it's people like us that this is really coming from. Just yeah. Still a lot of people not here, but okay. So the extraterrestrial species almanac. Greg Pawtographs. Oh, I always have trouble with this name. Wrote this book. He's very involved in MUFON and collecting research. He's an author, of course. This is probably one of the best books that we have seen. We actually own the book. It does talk about different species. There's 82 known species that we believe.
Well, that we know of. Yeah.
Now, where this is, he gets this information from people who have been abducted, taken, however you want to word that,
Or contacted them.
contacted. When people have experiences and report that, it's amazing how it coincides with other reports. And then you have people that the nuts and bolts, like Cheryl and Linda Costa. You guys probably remember Cheryl spoke at and they will both be here this year. They collect data and they can tell you all around the world how many sightings per city.
Yeah, what states have most sightings, what time they have the most sightings. It's pretty detailed, so a chance to check that out. It's very interesting. And I think Michigan is rated number 9 actually in sightings in the United States. So Texas might be the first, but I might be wrong. I'm not sure about that. But to get the statistics every month. There's lots of them. So there are a lot of books there. So in 2014, NASA awarded Theological Studies $1.1 million to find out how people react to contact. And they call it astrobiology, really. I mean, don't they mean aliens? So, I do a lot of research, not just watching the videos. Like she was talking about, I try to find out when people have contacts through channeling, meditation, whatever it is. I try to find similar stories. The latest story is that they are telling us that they have contacted our governments, our religious leaders, but they refuse to acknowledge it. And so now they've said this, they will make individual contact with people who want it. And you just have to ask for it in your mind, okay? They said they're going to beat that up and make more contact through individuals, preferably in an area that's outside, away from things. But I'll tell you, it works. I mean, we were doing investigation, a paranormal investigation in Everett, Michigan. And of course, I'm always looking at the sky. There was 10 of us. And I was walking out and I said, I know you're there. I know you're there. Just show me a sign. I could feel it was a beautiful night. And this little pin that started off on the size of a star just got real big and lit us all up right back. So they are listening. And they say they are listening. So if you seriously want to see them, you can do it. They said they will show us. There are ships to them. So we know why the government doesn't want to do it because, first of all, the military, it's all about having like crash vehicles. I mean, they want to use it for weapons. They want to use it for technology. So, and the government came out and admitted that they had received crashed UFOs, and nobody blinked an eye. A couple of years ago, all of us did. Okay, so we've got to get more involved because to me, that is the biggest thing that's going to happen to this planet. That we have contact with our neighbors because it's going to raise our technology, it's going to raise our level of consciousness, it's going to change our lives forever. I think really deep down inside we're kind of scared about it. So, but
who would, I mean, everyone's a little nervous about seeing an alien, right?
and they
I
say
mean, you would love contact.
no, they're going to look like us, not exactly. Some are, some aren't. But it's imperative that we up our ascension and up our knowledge of what's going on. And another reason is if we find out what's going on, game's over for people that have money to control. So, but they just can't fly here and change the world. That's not the way it's set up. When you get into a higher dimension, a higher ascension, a higher level, you have more rules and regulations of what you do for people on certain levels. So, but they're asking us, they're saying, hey, we're here. If you want to talk to us, just say it. You'd be surprised what happens.
Comes at the perfect time. It's believed that Arcturians, Palladians, and several others are healing us. They are true healers. More species than not are thought to be helping us and are very advanced and spiritual. Now, many of the races that are supposedly known are, they go by the law of one. You guys all know what that is? So, are some bad? Well, look at the human race. How many humans are good? Most of them. How many are bad? There's some out there. And it's the same thing with any race on any planet. Some are good, some are not so good. There's like, if you think about the race, sometimes different races are terrible. They're the bad ones. Well, there's many different kinds of race. but some are very good. All they are is another being on another planet. And, you know, like RJ was saying earlier, if you think about the billions of planets, how can we even think life doesn't exist on anything? How can we be so egotistical that we really think we are the only living beings on any planet?
Yeah, and some of it's not our fault. We've been taught and trained to fear them because, well, what do we fear? We fear the unknown, man. We don't know. There's no. So, but somebody's so far advanced, if they want to get rid of us, we'd be gone a long time ago. So that's not true.
Not true. Okay. So if you're a witness, contactee, abductee, or need someone to talk to, some direction.
Yeah.
I know as an abductee myself, contactee, a witness. It was really hard in the beginning to talk about it. And sometimes I still get emotional. But what we need most, if you've had one of these experiences, you know it's very, very, very life altering. Very life altering. It can, you know, wreck you to the core. The trauma sometimes from going through one of these experiences, we don't even realize what we're going through.
And that's why they just don't land on the White House lawn.
Yeah.
Traumatize a lot of people.
Something new. But we need to hear, I believe you. Those words are everything to somebody, you know, a paranormal experience of any type, whether you've seen a spirit or some other kind of entity or a being from another experience. You need to be believed.
Now, when I say I want to contact them, I want to meet them, I also say I'm going to scare shitless. Because you turn around, there's an 8-foot beam there that you want to see, but, you know, so I tell them what happens. Don't freak out because I'm freaked out, right? So, you know, it's just like walking in the jungle. All of a sudden, you know, elephants next to you. You're scared, right? So, yeah, they look different. And some might be only 3 feet tall. So, yeah, it's going to freak you out a little bit. Just prepare yourself. Just say, hey, okay, I got this.
Does anybody think that this is, if you're not comfortable with raising your hand, don't? So everybody, we have one. Everybody else is, I'm not talking about that. One thing that I learned at my big experience is usually we don't even know that we have this. We don't have any clue that we have had this in time. When I had mine, the only way I knew is I happened to look at the clock as I was starting to feel something. This all happened. I saw it came very close to my car. I didn't realize that I went anywhere. I had no clue until like 2 days later. I was literally 3 miles from my home in my car when this happened. I don't remember driving home, but I thought, okay, maybe that's normal because trauma, you know, I was in shock. Saw this thing when but I ran in my house immediately, sent a message to somebody, and didn't look back at that message until 2 days later, and I realized I had an hour and 9 minutes missing. Didn't remember what happened. Didn't have a clue. So I contacted Bill Kapolowski from Newfoundland. Said, this was before I was in Move On. If I had missing time, like if I was abducted or something, I'd know that, right? And I'm expecting him to come back and say, well, yeah. People talk about their abductions all the time, so they know. He's now deaf, usually people don't know because they're experts in erasing memory. So, and I'm gonna put myself out there and say, any of you, possibly all of you, or probably half of you, have had some missing time.
Why do they do that? It's for your benefit.
Yeah.
Because it's a very, very shared. So a lot of times, yeah, they can erase your memory, but sometimes it's for your own good. Now, I can tell you, as we evolve, if we are traveling in space, we're going to be privy to new regulations and new rules, what we can do out. And we will someday come to a planet to study them. And we will be abducting things around, the galaxy ourselves. It's just what people do. Okay, so and we will know how to erase memories, so it's not traumatizing them. We will do the same thing. And so it's just part of the process. It's what they do. It's not like, of course, we hear the stories, right? Happens, but and that goes on too. There's a high bred system going on for the universe. It's all genetic. It goes on. It's what's happened. So yeah, are people taking DNA here? We're doing it here on this planet. Right? So yeah, that goes on. Is there rules and regulations about it? Yeah, for sure. I don't know what they are. But I would hope they're, acting within their own rules and regulations. So it's just what it is.
Yes, it is what it is. At this point, I wish we had the technology. After my experience, I think a lot more now about animal testing, things like that. We kind of do the same thing to other beings that we can blame could be done to us. And we don't erase their memory. How traumatizing must be. So we've been talking fast because we have an 8-minute video. We might not be able to see all of it. So this is something that we recorded. We did not plan on using this recording when we made it. I'm going to apologize right up front. I suck. I have muscle issues. I don't hold still. So this video might make you really sick, all the movement.
So this was a couple of weeks after the UFO time here last September, early October. Again, I go outside, look at the skies, I'm talking to them. Yeah, I'm a weirdo. That's what I do. But I noticed something in the hardest part of the sky, because the lights are over there. And this is what happened. And I called her up.
So you're all going to be researchers right now. So we're going to try to get this in. We might fast forward if we can do that. Oh. Oh. There it goes. There's a lot of traffic and lights. Above the sign a little bit, you can see a twinkling light that has been moving up and down. That's crazy stuff. What it is here.
Southwest.
There's a lot of crap.
So as you watch this little slowly move down a little bit. But
Hope I can explain.
Is there an airplane? Is there a drone? Is it Venus?
Sadly, I don't see a way that we can fast forward through any of this.
You know this? Any ideas? What do you think it is?
It moves much?
It did. It'll make your programs.
No.
Yeah, we apologize. For
I don't think it's.
See, it's moving down.
Yeah, it's on down.
What you can see on the video is there are a lot of different colors.
It's coming down. Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
It's
It'll instantly. No.
You think John Cena allows to have a animal on camera? Probably.
Right.
Looking at house. So you see it's come down. And you'll move to the right. Right.
So like, you don't see here is RJ had gone out the front door. Stood outside for 4 or 5 minutes. And this thing was just going up and down. And he invited me in the house, he said, Dad, you gotta come see this. This thing is out there moving up and down. And we live in a busy area.
She's down. It's put down. That's just one there. There it is.
That
Oh,
would
there it is.
show us again, no?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's fine.
So there was,
Yeah. It will read here on the other side of that one.
so that starts moving around.
Where's that?
Yeah.
On the other side. And then it slowly just fades to the right. Was it a UFO? I don't know.
Space station.
You know, like, we just want to show an example. If you see something, your phone out, check it out.
We got over the way.
Well, yeah, solid. I would see it coming over. It's right on top of that telephone pole.
And
It just fades.
It's actually moving quite a bit, but very slow.
Right.
That's why I'm laughing.
But, it's just weird, it's moving, it's pulsating, orange, blue, and yellow. A bit more orange, look at that.
So it was changing colors then?
Uh,
It was changing colors?
yes, it's changing
Okay,
colors.
because that's the video didn't
Yeah.
show that. That's cool.
Yeah. So anyway,
It's gonna go on a few more minutes.
but it's just,
So what are your thoughts?
we didn't check it out.
To move on, no, but, I don't know. It's not something huge in the sky, not from our distance anyways. Most people would have looked at that the way it was right there and went, "Oh, it's a star, or it's a plane or a balloon." Most people wouldn't have noticed. RJ noticed mainly because it had been moving up and down. And then when we went out there, it was like it almost like up here and disappeared. It's like that. Can we say that's a UFO or UAP or a spacecraft? We can't. But that shows you how difficult that could be, for a researcher even to try to figure out exactly what that is. It doesn't behave like a drone or a balloon or an airplane or a helicopter or satellites. But do you prove it?
Shining light.
Yeah, they go up.
Yeah, and they keep moving. This was moving when it started or stopped going up and down. It just moves so slow. And, yeah, so, we see stuff like this all the time. And as you can see, we live right on a main road. So there's lights everywhere, there's stuff going on, there's noise. So do you have to go to a very remote location to see them? No. They literally are everywhere.
Whatever they are.
Whatever. So we only have a couple of minutes. Questions? Now to the police, no, and I'm moved on, so
We don't.
we have no other reports. But like I said, usually the ones that you move this way, don't get reported because it's not huge. It was moving kind of slow at that point anyways. There's so many that never get reported.
That might be our fault. Our UFO.
Yeah, we see them, honestly, we see them all the time. And, when we do CE5 work, like if we do groups work an event and take groups out, it's very rare that nothing is seen. Almost always, like when Andrea does her work,
People take pictures.
always something is seen. They're there, we just miss it. And it's getting to the point where it's more and more, because we don't have the veils there and we're looking up more. We're seeing, we're noticing. And the cool thing is, like, if you turn on the TV now or buy a newspaper, listen to the radio, you're always hearing some sort of UFO news, right? Daily, there's new UFO news. And people are, oh, cool. Where 20 years ago? Uh-oh.
Last off.
I don't know how to forget about it.
Anyway, I just, the main thing I want to say is this, we have neighbors. We have neighbors. It's exciting. We should be excited about this. Try to get involved. just personally get involved. You want to talk to them. See what happens. Do some CE5. Yeah, so anyway, just, just get excited.
And our hope is to,
Some amazing things coming our way.
our hope is to eliminate fear. Because fear creates so many other negative
Yes. Yeah.
everythings. We want to eliminate that. We want you to know this is not a normal thing. I mean, if you saw a coyote in the woods, that's not something we interact with all the time. They're there, we're here, we coexist, and it's all good. Your cat wants to. It's usually pretty good. And it's the same thing with beings on other planets. They're usually not. If they wanted to harm us, like ARJAY said, they would. It would have been death. Yeah.
Yeah, they want us to advance like they're waiting for us. We just have to accept them.
And it's good to know that those who have done tons and tons and tons of studies find that most of these beings adhere to the law of one.
Yeah, if you get a chance, check that out. It's that means what it means is that everything's connected. We're all one.
And everything is love. That's, they know that we are connected to them. We're a part of them. Everything, all consciousness is connected. But, it's all one. And if we can all be in a place of love, try to eliminate the fear. Fear is the opposite of hate, or love, not hate. Then it's all just smooth out. This will be love. Any quick questions before we run?
All right, thank you. We love you.
Yes, thank you. Keep your eyes to the skies. Oh, and then we have to say that.
Oh.